I tell you guys what my favorite restaurant is and why, whether or not I ever crave any non-vegan food, am I scared that I might get Ebola, and I answer many other great questions on this episode of Ask PTrippy. What's up? I'm PTrippy, so let's dive right into the questions. The first question comes from Thomas Belly, and he wants to know, do I watch The Ellen Show? I'm going to admit, I do watch The Ellen Show. I really don't know if I should be embarrassed by that or not. But the reason why I watch The Ellen Show is because I love Ellen. She's super duper funny. Overall, The Ellen Show is funny as hell. And in my personal opinion, I think The Ellen Show is one of the funniest talk shows on TV. Obviously, when she has shirtless men on her show, like with Nick the Gardener lately, it's obviously not my cup of tea, so that's a little weird and disturbing. But overall, the show is super duper funny, and I love Ellen. And so, I watch The Ellen Show, yes. Thomas Belday also wants to know if you're going to buy the new iPhone, which one are you going to buy? The iPhone 6 or the iPhone 6 Plus? Now, I know I said on a recent episode of Ask PTrippy that I'm going to be buying the new iPhone, but that is not the case anymore. I'm not going to get into too much details as to why, because I really want to stick to the question and not go on a tangent. But I'm going to rephrase it like this. If I was going to buy the new iPhone, I would buy the iPhone 6 Plus and then obviously get a good hard case in there so I don't have problems with it bending and whatnot. Speaking of iPhones, Thomas Belly also wants to know, do I use iOS 8 on my iPhone? I am not using iOS 8 on my iPhone right now because I do not have 4 GB. My phone rarely even has 1 GB of free space, and I've got a 16 GB iPhone 5. So that just goes to show you that there's a lot of on my phone. So I've got to take the time to delete some stuff and whatnot, and until I do that, I will not be having iOS 8 on my phone. This next question I'm going to read right off my computer because it's a doozy of a question. Thomas Belly also wants to know if you got offered to take a trip to one place that is not really your cup of tea, meaning not a place you would particularly like to visit. Wow, that was a mouthful. But the trip was free and it would give you free tours, free hotel, and free everything. So basically you could have just said free everything. But anyway, he says, would you go? I'm going to answer this one right now. It depends on the place. So yes and no. It just depends. Killer Kamango, or is it Killer Kamango? I don't really know. Let me know. Anyway, Killer Kamango wants to know, what is my favorite restaurant? My favorite restaurant is Red Robin because their fries are amazing and they fry their fries in a separate fryer, which means I don't have to worry about contamination from other things that they fry. And also, they've got the Boca Vegan patty, which basically means I can turn the bonsai burger. My voice is cracked there. I can turn the bonsai burger, I can turn the burn and love burger, or any burger my heart contends to. Is that the right way to say that? Anyway, and I can turn it vegan just by substituting the burger for the Boca Vegan patty. So, Red Robin, I know you're not watching this, but I just want to say this. Red Robin, I love you. Killer Kamango also wants to know, do I ever crave any non-vegan food? I do occasionally crave some non-vegan food. In particular, I usually crave cheese foods. What I mean by that is mozzarella sticks, cheese curds, cheese ravioli, Kraft mac and cheese. Anything with cheese in it, I crave on a regular basis. But do I eat it? No, because I know I'll feel guilty later and probably cry in a corner. Probably not, but that's what I think will happen. Okay, that's kind of sick wants to know, am I scared that I might get Ebola? I, of course, would be lying if I said I wasn't scared. It is a scary thing to think that in the United States, we have our first death from Ebola and our first person to contract Ebola in the United States, so it is a scary thing. But right now, I'm just trying to live life like I normally do and not just get too worried about it, because once you get too worried about it, things get a little bit cray-cray. So, yeah, I am scared. A little bit. Try not to be too scared, obviously. Okay, that's kind of sick also wants to know, what was my first experience on the internet like? I really can't answer this question because I don't really remember my first experience with the internet because I was so young. What I do remember though is we had one of those big old clunky Windows computers, you know, the tan ones with the tower, and we had Windows 98 on it. That's all I remember from the internet and the computer age when I was young. I don't remember what my first experience with the internet was like. Cat R wants to know, how old am I? You would not believe how many times I get this question not only on YouTube, but also in real life, because I do look incredibly young, but despite my good looks, I am a surprisingly 19 years old. I know. I am actually quite surprised by it as well. A little funny side note story, I'm currently working as an actor at a haunted attraction, amazing job by the way, but when I went to go submit my tax papers and whatnot, they were looking for a work permit. I don't know if you guys, many of you guys know what a work permit is, but basically it's basically what you have to get if you're in high school to work somewhere. So yeah, I look pretty young, but I am actually pretty old. Well, no, not pretty old. I mean, like, you know what I meant. I'm older than what people think. Anyway. And last but not least, I saved this question for the very last because I'm going to use this question as a segue into something that I want to talk about briefly. But first, let's answer the question. Thomas Belli wants to know, what is our website hosted on? When I first saw this question, I got a little bit confused because, well, the way you phrased it, I mean, I'm assuming that you're talking about PTrippy.com, and really it's my website, but then I remembered that technically I made the website for me and you guys, so it technically is our website. So, anyway, like I said, I don't know why I need to go on a tangent. But anyway, like I said, I am assuming that you're talking about PTrippy.com, and that website is being hosted on Namecheap.com's hosting services, because that's where I purchased the domain first. So, why purchase a domain somewhere and then purchase hosting elsewhere? Just do it in the same place. Speaking of websites, I launched a new website this week, Monday, bakingwithtrippy.com. Now you may be wondering, why the hell did I make a new website just for Baking with Trippy? Well, because not only am I going to be posting the recipes that I make on Baking with Trippy on there, but I'm also going to be posting a lot of other great vegan recipes, some cooking, some baking, some non-baking / cooking, that I don't do on Baking with Trippy. Mainly because I do a lot of baking and cooking, and weekly is just not enough for me. So essentially, it's a food blog. And so if you're vegan, make sure to subscribe. In the sidebar on the website, there's like a thing where you can subscribe. And so if you subscribe by entering your email address and hitting submit, you'll get an email every time I post a new recipe. So that's going to be an amazing thing for me. It's going to be a new venture for me. I'm going to be busy making a mess in the kitchen a lot now, and so it should be exciting. So make sure to check out bakingwithtrippy.com. Alright, so that's all I have for this episode of Ask Trippy. So please leave me your questions in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer them on a future episode of Ask Trippy. If you smiled while watching this video, please give this video a thumbs up down below. Also down below is a subscribe button. Click now. I upload awesome content like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so subscribe now to avoid missing out. Alright, so I'm Trippy. Thanks for the wonderful questions. I love you guys, and as always, thanks for watching.
Oh, let's go!